Hey guys, if you use Acellus through Power Homeschool and you would like an easy way to be able to track your steps and your goals for your students for the year, this is the video for you. So it's important to note I am not affiliated with Acellus at all. I just needed a tool to track my own children, there's 4 of them, to be able to easily track them and their steps because things were always changing. So I made this spreadsheet. I think it's the 3rd year that we're using this. Now there's a link in the description below for you to purchase and download this year's copy. If you can't afford $10, you can always download the free version, and that's on a previous video. Just look it up on my channel. And you can still download the free version. But if you appreciated that and that was helpful to you in your school year, I would really appreciate you clicking on the new link for this year's version. Okay, enough of that. Let's get to it. Okay, guys and gals. So it makes sense to start on the instructions tab. If you'll look at the very bottom, you're going to see instructions, calendar, and steps and goals. Now, you'll only probably use the instructions tab for the first week, maybe 2. And then you might use the calendar tab more often, but you're definitely going to be using the steps and goals tab. So let's start right here, beginning of year setup. Number 1, click on the calendar tab at the bottom of this document and determine what weeks that you will be working on school. So a typical school year is anywhere between, I think, 28 weeks and 32 weeks. Depending on what state you're in, you may have laws around how many days you have to do school, but here in Oklahoma, we don't necessarily. So right here on my week number, in this column, I'm going to put what week I'm working on. So we're going to start school the week of August 9th. So that's my first week. Our second week is the week of August 16th. And we're going to work for about 7 weeks. And then the end of September, we are taking some time off. So it's very important that you either skip this completely or type in off or vacation or whatever and not number the weeks that you are taking off, because only the weeks that you're actually doing school should be numbered. Anything else in here is just fine. So we try to operate off a 32-week, sometimes not so much, school year, and we take time off, like I said, about every 6 weeks or so, but sometimes we just need another week off. And so if we do need another week off, I come and adjust this. Okay, that's all finished. Let's go back to the instructions. Now we're going to click on the steps and goals tab. Okay, that looks like it's right here. So I'm going to click on steps and goals. And this is why the calendar thing is important, because it pulls in the date that your school week is ending. So it's not terribly important, but it's really nice to have over here. So don't worry too much about that. Okay, back to the instructions. Enter your student and subject information into columns A, B, C, D, and E. Let's do that real quick. So I'm going to type in Johnny. And you can put your user ID and your password in here for your reference for your student's Acellus account if you would like to. I like to, because if we ever have to change one of their quick logins, then we need this information. So anyway, and then I'm going to put in the subjects. So let's do geometry and English 1 and history. So I'm going to put those classes in, and then you're going to go to your Acellus account and you're going to find the total steps needed to complete that subject. I'm going to make a separate video on how to how to find total steps for those of you who are new. But that's what you're going to enter in from Acellus. So go to Acellus and we're going to find out how many steps. So geometry, I'm going to say it's 234 steps, and we'll say English is 300 steps, and we'll say history is, I don't know, 300 steps again, to make it easy. Okay, we finished that. See, through column E. Let's go back to the instructions. right here in cell F4, enter the number of weeks you'll be doing school. So this allows the remaining cells in column F to calculate the number of steps needed. So let's go show you that. So right here, so let's say on our calendar, we said we want to finish school in 32 weeks. So I'm going to go change this to 32, but you can change this at any time throughout the semester. So 32 weeks. So when I do this, if you'll notice, these numbers changed. So I'm going to do that real quick. Watch those numbers. 30 weeks. See, we have 7.8 steps, 10 and 10. So I'm going to change it back to 32 weeks. And what this is, it says recommended steps each week for a 32-week school year. Super easy. It says, oh, okay, these are the steps that I recommend in order to get this entire class finished in 32 weeks. Okay, great. Now this is very important. That's the next part on your instructions right here. Instructions number 4. Let's go back to steps and goals. The number of steps I will complete each week. So this is saying, oh, I recommend this, but you can do whatever you want. If I complete 7 steps a week, I'm not going to be done in 32 weeks. And this over here proves that, because it says end of week 34 that I'm done. Wait a minute, I wanted to finish school in 32 weeks. Well, you have to do 7.3 steps in order to finish in that amount of time. So let's go ahead and round up. 1 more step each week is not going to kill your kids. Ah, look at that. Now with 8 steps completed each week in this subject, I don't just finish on week 32, I finish early. I like finishing early. So again, you can use this. This is just for reference, but you can do whatever you want. So I'm going to go ahead and change this. I'm going to change this to 10 steps a week in English. In history, I'm also going to do 10 steps because the recommended is 9.4. So that puts me done right about here. It's pretty great. And then you can change this later on if you would like to. Say, hey, I want all of my weeks to be done at 30 weeks. So I'm going to do 11 steps. Well, that puts me way ahead. Maybe I'll just keep it at 10 and do a couple extra at the end. So this gives you lots of flexibility to look at all of that and see where you are. So let's go back to our instructions. We're done with our setup, all done. But now we have to do our weekly instructions. So weekly instructions are really easy. You probably don't even need instructions for this at all. But every week you want to enter your current week number into cell J2. And then in column J and in the same row as your subject, enter your child's current step. So let's go do both of these real quick. So say I'm on week 1. It's the end of week 1 and I'm checking my kids to make sure that they're on pace. So they were supposed to do 8 steps. This is what this is for. They were supposed to do 8 steps in week 1. But they actually did 10 steps. So I'm going to put that in there, 10. They were supposed to do 10 steps in English for week 1, but they only did 7. And they were supposed to do 10 steps in history, and they nailed it. So if you look right here, things change when you put in your current step, right? So this is green because I'm on pace or ahead. I did 10 when I only needed to do 8. And this is red because I was supposed to do 10 in English, but I only did 7. So this is an easy way for you to look and see where your kids are. Now, the reason that this is important to see is because right down here on the frequently asked questions, it says Acellus tracks my students' progress. Why do I need to use this spreadsheet? Well, as of 7/21/20, Acellus will track steps, yes. However, what I discovered is that if your child retakes any lesson, that is counted towards their steps. For example, 10 steps needed to complete the week. Little Johnny does 1 assignment, but he also retakes it for credit 9 times. Then Acellus shows that your weekly steps are complete. But they're really not. because you were supposed to do 10 unique steps. And he redid several things, which caused his steps to be off track. So that's why this is important. It's important to go in and look at your current steps each week to make sure that you are on pace to finish on time. Okay. Now that that's all done, let me show you what else this does. So I'm going to go, and by the way, this shows you when you're done exactly. It's pretty handy. I'm going to go right over here. I'm going to say, well, now we're on week 2. Look what happened. This graded out. So this is easy. Excuse me. This is easy for you to see where your kids should be if you're looking at this, because I know that some people will just look at this and they won't look at this. But it's really up to you how you want to use this. I like to see the progress. So this is like a progress tracker for me, because I like to see all those things highlighted and checked off. And so if you're someone like me and love to see those check marks, then you're going to really like this. I think you're going to really enjoy this. But remember, so each week, the only thing I'm going to do is go in, I'm going to enter my current week. It's the week that I just completed. I just completed week 2. And now I'm going to change my current step. So I should be at 16, 20, and 20 for each of these subjects. 16, 19, and 20. So again, this tells me, automatically, I don't have to think about it. I have 1,000 other things to think about throughout the week, and I don't want this to have to be one more of them. So it's really great. So you can go in and adjust your children's steps, or tell them they have to do another step or they're not complete. Maybe you check your children's Acellus account on Fridays and you say, oh, you have homework. You have to complete one more. So there we go. One other thing. Each cell with blue text, this one and this one and this one and these all have fancy formulas in them. So I'm going to show you. Do you see right up here? Even though this cell shows 9, 12, 20, up here is what's actually in the cell. It's a formula. If you accidentally click on one of these cells and try to overwrite it by putting in your own numbers, it's going to pop this up for you. It says you are trying to edit part of the sheet that shouldn't be changed accidentally. Edit anyway. So you can select OK, but this really is to show you or to warn you, hey, there's a fancy formula in here and you probably shouldn't overwrite it. You can, but I can't fix it if you do. You'll have to start over with a new sheet. So always hit cancel unless you're a power user and know what you're doing. Always hit cancel. That way you don't mess up any of the formulas. And I have all of the cells with blue text locked down so that you can't accidentally change it without that warning box coming up. But anything that's black, you can definitely change, and you need to. So I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope all of that made sense to you. If it doesn't, shoot me a message. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Also, I am going to be doing a video on how to find some of those things in Acellus if you're new to Acellus, just because I feel like that would be really helpful. It would have been helpful to me instead of spending hours, felt like, trying to figure out all of the things. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you really enjoy the spreadsheet this year, and I hope that it makes things easier in your already busy lives. Thank you.
Guys, if you like